Put these on?
Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, go ahead and get pretty close to the mic here. Sorry about that. There we go. Okay. All right, everybody. Welcome into another episode of the Spread the Positive podcast. I am your host, Trent Denson, back with another episode. Got a special guest, Mr. Chuck Isbell. How are you, sir?
Okay. How about you?
Doing well, man. Doing well. So, Chuck is passionate about a campaign called Drive 25 to keep a child alive. And we're going to get into the backstory of that and just kind of just who Chuck is in general, man. So can you give us a little backstory on who you are and just kind of what led us here, I guess? I know that's a loaded question.
I grew up in Nashville.
Okay.
Grew up outside of Napier. I was about 12. We moved to Woodbine. Then
Nice.
Became an adult. Basically moved out here to Rutherford County. I've been out here almost 30 years.
Okay.
So,
long time, Rutherford County. All seen it. All the changes and all the crazy that's come with it.
Yeah, we first moved to Smyrna. I think there were 4 red lights.
4.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was like this is great.
That's incredible. Yeah. A few more these days, huh?
Yeah.
Just on Sam Ridley alone, right?
Yeah.
Like a 2 mile or 0.2 mile stretch. But so long time Rutherford County resident, passionate about this area. It's home, obviously. That's awesome. Let's get into it, man. Let's talk about Nate and the tragic passing that y'all experienced a couple years ago on Halloween. Take it away.
It was Halloween 2 years ago. So Halloween always been a big holiday for me and all 3 of my kids. And Nate was 13 and his brother was 26 and his sister was 23 and my granddaughter was 3. And so, my daughter lives in Odessa, Texas. And so me and my oldest son, we're going to take his daughter trick-or-treating. I was trying to get Nate to go with us, but he had a garage band. He was all like, "Oh, I don't want to do that. I want to do an adult thing. I want to go play with my friends in the band and skateboard." And I had a bad feeling about it all week. Oh, sorry. And then he Friday night before Halloween, which was the 30th, my granddaughter stayed the night and we carved pumpkins and with her, and we did all that stuff. And then Saturday we did some stuff, and it's kind of funny, things you take for granted, and but he left about, I want to say about 4:00. And then, my older son came over, we went trick-or-treating. We got home about, back to my house about 6:30. And I got a phone call from his mom saying that Nate had been hit by a car because his friends they had her number and called her. But, it was my weekend with him. But, and, like I said, I just saw him about 4:00. And the last thing I told him was, don't do anything stupid, because I had bad feeling, teenage boys, going on Halloween, it's easy to get in trouble.
Yeah.
And so my oldest son said, "How bad is it?" And I said, "Well, she's not freaking out, because she worked for State Farm. So,
okay.
She, understood all that stuff." And so it was like, and I'm like, if she's not freaking out, it can't be too bad. So we drove over to Stonecrest, and it's in the middle of 2020, it's all COVID protocols and everything. They had a station outside. You had to check in before you could even go in to the yard. And when I told them who I was, they carried us straight to the back.
Oh, man.
No mask, no nothing. And I was like, "Oh, this is bad." Damn. And so they put us in a room, and we were in the room for about an hour. And then they came in and told us he was gone.
Man. I'm so sorry.
And then we found out, it happened about 6:20. And so what had happened was they had been playing music for a little bit, but they went to go skateboarding before it got too late. And so they went skateboarding on a side street. And then they had to be back before dark. And so they were headed back, and it's 6:20 on Halloween night. It was a full moon that night. And the road they were on didn't have it doesn't have shoulders or sidewalks. It's just a very narrow 2-lane road. And but anyway, Nate had stopped to pee and he was trying to catch up with his friends. So because I've heard people say, oh, he was doing tricks, and the people that witnessed that out there that night said he wasn't doing tricks. Pedestrians allowed 3 feet on the side of the road. He was 2 feet on the side of the road, and they proved that with the reconstruction. And then he was trying to catch up, so he had 1 foot on the board and 1 foot pedaling, and then the person hit him going 43 and a 35.
Oh man!
And so when she hit him, she launched him 130 something feet. So he had one friend across the street who saw it, and then the other friend was about 130 feet up in front of him, watched him land next to him on a big outcrop of rocks and stuff. And then the person stopped another 120 feet past where he landed, but they didn't skid to a stop. They just gradually came to a stop.
Oh my gosh.
And then he died at, within seconds at the scene. No one knew that, because his injuries didn't appear that bad. There was a nurse who lived a couple houses over, heard it. He come running over, started CPR. Almost immediately. Somebody drove by. They saw what was going on. They're like, I know CPR. They were switching off. It was a woman. And then there were other people that came over, and I've gotten to know the nurse a little bit, and the people across the street. They came over. They were like, we didn't know what to do. We just prayed. And so he, they couldn't get a pulse back. They couldn't understand. And the ambulance got there. I think it was like 10, 15 minutes, which is normal response rate.
Yeah.
Especially where it was. And, they took him to the ER. When they took him to the ER, they couldn't figure it out. So they couldn't figure it out, so they ended up cutting him open. And what they found out was his aorta had ripped from his heart. So he bleed out in like 8 to 10 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
So he just, he was just gone at that moment.
That's,
so, like a lot of people, you hear people complain like, well, if the paramedics had got there sooner, if this had, we didn't have that, because, there was a nurse right on the scene,
right.
And then, things I tell myself to help comfort myself. Like most of us won't get to a death like that. We're not going to have people praying above us, people trying to save us. Most people just die alone,
right.
However it is, or try even more horrific than that. But so like when we got the autopsy back, it had broke basically everything on his left side.
Jeez.
Because he like turned back, and I guess he saw it happening.
Oh my gosh.
And then so he and then it I don't know, it is what it is. So that's why we're doing the campaign,
right?
If you get hit going 25, you have a 10% chance of death, which if you get hit at 30, it goes up to 25.
Wow.
If you get hit at 40, it's like a 90% chance of death.
Wow.
And like I said, she hit him 43 and a 35.
Yeah, you don't even think about it being that drastic. I probably go 43 and a 35 quite often, just without even thinking about it.
What's the police saying? 10, 9 you're fine, 10 you're mine.
Right. Right.
And
dang. So that's the whole. Those statistics tell the whole thing.
Yeah.
What you just said just is the whole campaign, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. And it's just residential roads. I've had people tell me crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I had a guy attack me one day. I set up booths at Laverne City events and hand out signs and talk about it. But he was like, I heard you're trying to make the interstate 25 miles.
Oh my God.
And I'm like,
come on.
And man. I'm like, that's the craziest thing I ever heard.
Somebody really said that?
Yeah. Oh, I had somebody tell me, somebody high up in the county tell me 3 weeks ago that I was the speed bump guy, that I wanted to put speed bumps all over the community. And I'm like, I don't think I've ever said that. And they were just like, no, you told me that. And I'm like, no, I don't think I have. Someone may ask me about speed bumps, and speed bumps are a neighborhood decision,
right?
Like if you and your neighbors all, because it's a traffic calming mechanism. If you and your neighbors want to get speed bumps, that's between you and them. That's not my decision.
Right.
And then I have people like, you get to make this decision. I'm like, no, I don't get to make the decision for the 25 miles an hour. I'm like, well, the county commissioners, the city officials, all these, it's already set.
Right.
But like the average speed limit in Rutherford County right now is like 40 miles an hour for residential roads.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So, and
like the St. Andrews. I just think of, the Cason Lane and St. Andrews areas, and it's so many houses, so many things, and I think it is 35 through there.
Yeah, I met with the mayor, Mary Esther of Smyrna, and Brian Hercules of Smyrna, and the city manager, and they gave me a piece of paper. I was just going to talk to them about every residential road in Smyrna is 25 miles an hour, except for one.
Okay,
it's 20.
Okay.
And then, but the collector and the connector roads are 30 and 35.
Right.
Which is what you want.
Right.
And the Laverne is working on finishing up a few streets with that. So, it's just me going out having conversations with people. I need to, it takes a little bit. I do it slowly. It takes a little bit for people to chew on it.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people that want to be very standoffish and very angry, and then they'll come to me at another thing and be like, you know what? I thought about what you said, and I have noticed that. I have noticed what you're saying. I do see kids out, because I had somebody who attacked me about it one day, and I was just I'm like, what do you do when you see a school zone? Because they were telling me 25 was too slow for their neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And I said, what is the speed limit? They're like, it's 40.
For their neighborhood?
Okay. In their neighborhood, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the average speed limit. And people don't realize that, because people only know what they experience every day. If your neighbor, like my street's 25.
Right.
My connector roads are 30. Sorry. My connector roads are 30.
Yeah.
And so, it's like, yeah. So, that's what you want. But like she was saying, the main, all the roads were 40. And I was like, well, what do you do when you see a school zone? Oh, I slow down to 10 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And I was like, why? Because I know kids are out and they're running around. And I'm like, where do those kids live? Completely changed the conversation.
Right.
She didn't want to answer a question. No, I asked you a question. Where do those kids live? Where do they live?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She didn't want to admit she stepped in it.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, I was nice about it.
Right. But that's kind of crazy. People are that aggressive. I mean, I guess not everybody knows the full story, but if they do, that's a special level of not goodness.
Well, they told me that I had already told them the story, and they told me, well, I live in this community. And I said, well,
you told them the story, mm-hmm. Then they attack you. Yeah. That's unbelievable. Yeah. Wow.
And I was like, well, I've been here almost 30 years. I live in Laverne. Mm-hmm. My son was killed in Walter Hill, and he's buried at Maple View in Smyrna. Damn. I can't be any more part of this community than anybody else.
Right.
I mean, I'm yeah.
That's,
like I'll probably never leave Rutherford County because I don't want to leave him.
Man. So how can people support or get involved or, help the mission, man?
Yeah. So right now I'm working on I've hit a point where I have to make this into a nonprofit. Okay. And so I've started the process with that and getting that going. I ordered 100 signs this week, and I'll have them next week. I've changed them up a little bit because the ones we had before was keep a kid alive, drive 25. I changed it to keep a child alive, drive 25. And because someone told me I should, because it says at the bottom of it, in memory of Nate. Mm. And so somebody's like, I should increase his name. So I did. I increased the size of his name. Nice. So you can see it a little bit better. And then,
so people can get signs or ask for signs. And okay.
Yeah.
How do they do that?
I've got a Facebook
Just
group.
Reach out to you personally.
They can, I've got a Facebook group. It's called 25 for Rutherford County.
Okay.
Or something along those lines.
Okay.
Yeah. But
I'll put that in the show notes for sure.
Yeah. And and that's easy. Just tell me.
Okay.
And then once I get the nonprofit started, it'd be donations and stuff.
Cut the check, right?
Yeah. Because that's what it is. And the thing is that, it's not Nashville did this, which is Davidson County. And the thing about Davidson County is you only have one of everything.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do a Rutherford County, and it's basically 6 entities
Right.
for everything. So it's not easy just get one person to listen to you. You've got to deal with 6 of those people.
Right.
And some people are receptive. A lot of them aren't. I've had some interesting conversations with people, and some have been turned out to be nice, and they've become friends and allies, and some
not so much.
Right. And my thing is, I don't understand the negativity in it.
Right.
Because it's not a huge ask.
Right.
Is what I'm asking. And I'm like everybody else. I mean, I catch myself going, getting up a little higher than I should be. When I'm driving, I have to slow down. I have to tell myself, it's a normal thing. It's just, you get used to going once, you get used to driving, because I work downtown. So I'm on the interstate all the time. So 70, 75 is normal for me all the time,
right.
And then I got to come and I get off the interstate in Laverne, and it's like, oh, it's 35 miles an hour. Then it's 30. Then,
right.
You have to
be conscious of it.
Yeah. You have to be conscious of it and make yourself aware of it.
Yeah. I feel like that might just be a metaphor for more areas in our lives,
Yeah.
Slowing down could help a lot of us in a lot of ways. So, man, I'm really sorry, Chuck. That's just a gut wrenching story, obviously. And hopefully, well, for sure, Nate's gonna, live through this campaign and hopefully change some things that needs to be changed and make a positive impact in some areas that clearly need to be addressed. So appreciate what you're doing, the bravery. I know it's obviously not easy. So thank you for what you're doing. Anything we can do, man, definitely in your corner. Want to help any way we can. Reach out, get some signs, stay connected, be sure to I'll have the group in there, but man, just pulling for you, man. I'm in your corner.
Yeah, like Halloween this year wasn't.
Yeah,
we did a memorial thing on the 30th at the school he was at. They put a memorial stone out, and Channel 2 and Channel 17 came out for it, and then several county officials came out. I had 2 commissioners and some, the Laverne mayor, Jason Cole, and some other people running for office came out.
Nice.
Francis from the school board came out, and we just
shout out to Francis, man. She's great.
Francis,
yeah, she's great. Francis and Josh.
Yeah, and we were just just trying to like I said, bring awareness to it and everything. But his mom had a small thing in her house for Halloween. Halloween didn't really affect me this much this year, but when we got to the 5th of November, which was the day we buried him.
Oh man!
So that really hit me. And then, have you ever seen V for Vendetta?
Yeah.
Like, so it takes place on the 5th of November. Because it's the gunpowder treason and everything.
Wow.
It's a big thing over in England.
Right.
And it's like their
remember the forgot about that.
We always did stuff for the 5th of November. Like we'd watch V for Vendetta, and we would do this stuff. And I was at the Great Escape in 2020. Like it just opened here in Murfreesboro, and I found a deluxe copy of the DVD.
Nice.
For $2. And I was like, well, I'm going to save that for the November 5th. It's May or June. And he's like, Nate's like, you're going to wait that long to watch it? I said, yeah, I only watch it once a year. I watch it on that day. And that's when I'm going to do it, and he just, looked at me.
I thought it was weird,
and, but he,
so you do that every year?
I do, but I didn't do it year. I didn't do it in 2020 because, everybody, we buried him. Everybody was at my house.
Right.
And to be honest with you, I just wanted to be numb.
Right.
I had too many people in my house.
Cannot imagine.
And then last year I didn't get to do it because my daughter got married, and she got married in Baton Rouge. And so we were in Baton Rouge, so I couldn't watch it. And so I watched it this year, and it it hurt, because like I've literally waited 2 years to watch this movie, and I wanted to watch it with him. And then,
Yeah.
you know,
Shoo.
then I had a small bonfire. It was just me. A friend came over, and it was just, you know, sitting there. And I remember, like, it's one thing we would do. We would have little fires all the time, and we'd talk about it. And he asked me one time. He was like 8 or 9 years old. He's like, "Why is fire so mesmerizing?" You know, and I'm like, "It's the first technology.
Wow.
It's the first thing that we did to separate ourselves from anything else on the planet. You know, we controlled fire, and there's just you got to think of how many people going back to the beginning of time,
Yeah.
to sit there and looked at the embers of a fire.
Right.
I mean, it's like just one of the oldest things humans have ever done.
Wow.
You know, and I just, and just sat there and, thought about him. And, I mean, we're all handling it different, and I don't necessarily think his mom or my other two kids are handling it incorrectly. Like, my oldest son has a lot of anger. He thinks
Understandably.
Yeah. He thinks I should be more militant in what I'm doing.
Oh.
And I'm like, I can, but it pushes people off. And at the beginning of this, I was kind of more militant. I was
understandably,
and I was going through, the phases of grief and everything.
Trauma, real
trauma.
Yeah, man.
And now it's more of, I'm just trying to make it safer for anybody else. I just don't want anybody else to go through what we went through. Cause like when we, the funeral home was they were great. They honestly were. And when you walk in that room of caskets and you're having to like, like what casket's him. And, so when that, not to be political, but when that shooting happened in Texas and all those kids got shot, one of the funeral homes around there was doing custom caskets for all the kids. They were asking the parents what they liked, and they were painting the caskets up and everything for them. And I saw people complaining about that. And I don't normally respond to stuff on Facebook. I responded to that. I'm like, if you've never had to walk in that room and be like, what casket's my child? You don't understand, you don't understand that pain and what goes into it.
Right.
Like, you don't know. And, cause it was like, and the one thing about it is that, I had actually started planning my funeral in 2020, cause we're all going to die.
Right.
We're all going to die. And, I was going over some of the stuff with him, and he was telling me stuff he wanted. And I'm like, you need to write that down and give that to your kids, cause they're the ones going to be burying you. So I kind of knew some stuff that, he wanted or thought about. But one of the things we did was on the back of his stone, I put the quote from Pulp Fiction. Ezekiel, was it 25:17 or something?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I did that is because if you watch Captain America 2, when Nick Fury fakes his death, they have that on the back of his tombstone.
Nice.
And I thought that was really cool because it's a comic book nod. It's also a Pulp Fiction nod.
Yeah, right.
But he liked to play jokes on people. So if you type in that verse, it brings that video up first.
Right. Right.
And his mom wasn't too keen on it. I'm like, but I was like, well, it's, he wanted that.
Yeah.
Because I was going to do it, and then he wanted it. And so
that's awesome.
Yeah. So,
That's really
I got
awesome.
that on there, and he could still prank people somewhat.
Right.
Because people may not know that verse, and
Google, yeah.
And they'll Google it and see it.
That's really awesome. Yeah. Oh man, that's good. Any other have we missed anything? Just people get involved if you can and help. What else can we do to help, I guess?
I just need people to
spread the word.
Talk to your, here in the county, talk to your commissioners, school board representatives, whoever, just talk to all your officials.
And I guess, all right, one more thing.
Yeah.
What's the official, man? This should have been the first question I asked. I'm sorry. What are the official ask? And like, what are you 25 miles an hour in all residential?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, that's what I kind of assumed that. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I was saying about because people are asking if I get to decide that. It's already been decided.
Okay.
It's already been decided. You know?
Everything's already done. Yeah, relatively speaking.
Yeah, they just have to go in and put an amendment to change anything going forward to be 25 miles an hour.
Okay.
For that class road, and then go back and retro it for the existing.
Gotcha.
It's not a hard thing, but I don't want to name names or positions, but yeah, I get a lot of pushback from a lot of people that you wouldn't think, and everybody's like, "Oh, they're a great person." I'm like, that's not been my experience.
Okay.
It's not been my experience, and I don't want to think ill of people, but at the same time, they give me reason to think ill of them.
Yeah.
And they prove their actions and, and what they say and what they say they're not going to do. Because, there was an organization for some people that just got elected. They were supposed to do something for Halloween for safety for schools. And I had to twist arms to get the message out. And, and it got uglier than it should have got when they made, and I was telling someone, imagine a politician lying to you. Like that's never happened before.
Nope.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. So, it's just, it's things like that. And, and because a lot, people say you want, you're grieving, so you're hurting, so you want to hurt other people. And again, like in the beginning, yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
Sort of. But it was, and that's everything. I've had conversations with people. I'm trying to be responsible with my grief.
Right.
Because there are things that I can't control. Like one of the things I've been told was, so a woman sometime in the 1990s lost control of her car. I don't know all the details, but she hit a brick mailbox and she died. And I was like, okay. And so her family had started a campaign to remove brick mailboxes in all of Rutherford County. And I was like, that's the craziest thing I ever heard.
Right. And
they were, and they were like, well, that's what you're asking for. I'm like, no, it's not.
Right.
But I said, first of all, do you grandfather people when they have brick mailboxes?
Right.
Does the city buy back those brick mailboxes, make you put up a pole mailbox? What happens when somebody hits a pole mailbox and the pole goes through and it impels them, which happens?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so we ban poles.
Yeah.
I mean,
so get rid of the mailbox.
Yeah. I'm like, that's something that will never
happen.
Yeah. It'll never change.
Right.
You're not, like there's always, people have to have mailboxes.
Right. That's pretty crucial.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, the mail service has been around since the beginning of the country.
Mm-hmm.
So we're always going to have some kind of way, and the post office doesn't have enough land to make it where everybody can go to the post office, pick the mail up.
Right.
So, and that's like I'm saying, I'm trying to be responsible in what I'm asking for and what I'm trying to achieve. It's not to be irrational because, when you are irrational, people don't, they're not going to respond to you necessarily in a positive way.
Right.
And I'm trying to be as positive about this as I can and, and communicate as clearly as I can with everybody. This is, because, I mean, I like the whole state to do it.
Right.
But that's a bigger thing. And, one of the things I'm working on right now, I've been talking to some representatives for Rutherford County, and I want Halloween to be a distracted driving night campaign for all local law enforcement, because Laverne does a really good job on Halloween night. I believe they have every cop working, and then they go through the neighborhoods and they just go through real slow and they just watch, and it cuts down on kids being mischievous,
mm-hmm.
cuts down on speeders, cuts down on everything. They see something, they're there. And I like to see something, just a distracting driving campaign just for Halloween night.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
And this year was really bothersome for me because, it's a school night.
Yeah.
And it's like, with it. And that's the thing. And that's one of the things I don't understand with some of these people that are fighting me. It's a safety thing, it's just safety. You're right. Everybody runs on. It's one of the things you ask any politician, anybody run for office. Yeah, I believe in safety. 100% believe in safety. But then their actions don't show it.
Right. Pray that changes up, man. You know.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your story. Again, just my condolences, and Nate's a legend. You know, that's forever. So, be sure to get involved, folks. If you can help at all, got any connections with anybody, make it. Just reach out, I guess. Right?
Yep. If they have any ideas I'm not
Yeah.
doing, let me know.
Cool.
Because I'm learning this as I go, because there's not a lot of people have done this.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we're here for you, man. Anything we can do, please let us know, and we'll get some signs out or anything we can do, man. So appreciate y'all tuning in to the Spread the Positive podcast. I know this is kind of a heavy topic today, but there is a lot of positivity that's going to come from this, and you know, just sharing stories and sharing, you know, what good can come from a tragic situation has a lot of positivity. So appreciate the opportunity to have this combo, Chuck, and look forward to connecting further.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.